What if nothing in your life has ever been random? What if every moment, every meeting, every setback, every breakthrough was not chaos, but code? Reality hums with a frequency, like a symphony most people never pause to hear. Yet you are already part of it. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every story you repeat to yourself, they are signals, waves, vibrations, writing themselves into the field of possibility. Here's the truth. Life is not happening to you. It is happening through you. Like electricity flowing through an unseen wire, reality streams through your awareness, waiting for you to decide what pattern it will take. Science has shown us this in whispers, in the mysterious double-slit experiment, where light behaves differently depending on whether it is observed. Matter itself bends to consciousness. Possibility collapses into form the moment attention is applied, and so it is with your life. The job you didn't get, the person who walked away, the opportunity that seemed to arrive at the perfect time. None of it was chance. Each was an echo of frequency, mirroring back the resonance you carried in the unseen. Imagine two people walking into the same room. One carries fear, doubt, and resentment. The other carries gratitude, presence, and openness. The room is the same, yet the reality each experiences could not be more different. The code was not in the room, it was within them. This is the silent architecture of existence, the subconscious programs, the emotional currents, the beliefs you rarely question. They are all shaping how the world bends to meet you. Most people move through life unaware of this hidden design. They see only random events, good luck, bad luck. But you are waking up to a deeper truth. Your frequency writes the script long before the scene begins. And here's the paradox. The code has always been yours, but it has never been personal. The universe does not reward or punish. It reflects. Just as a mirror does not judge the image it shows, reality simply echoes the vibration you hold. This is why so many remain trapped in cycles. They believe they must change the mirror by touching its surface, forcing it to show them something new. But nothing changes until the source image shifts. So pause, right now. Ask yourself, what frequency have you been transmitting? What emotions have you been repeating? What story has been running silently in the background of your mind? Because this, not luck, not chance, not fate, is the code. And once you see it, you are no longer a victim of randomness. You become a participant, a decoder, a creator. The shift begins here. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you begin whispering, what is this showing me about my frequency? The code is waiting. The code is listening. And the moment you choose to become aware, you are no longer reacting to life. You are writing it. The quantum world has whispered this truth for decades. In the famous double-slit experiment, light behaved like both a wave and a particle, until someone looked. The act of observation, the simple focus of awareness, collapsed endless possibilities into a single outcome. Matter itself shifted, not because of force, but because it was seen. Now imagine your life through that same lens. Every choice, every moment, every possibility surrounding you exists in a state of potential, an infinite field of outcomes waiting in silence. And yet, the moment you bring your attention to one, the moment you choose to see it, the field collapses. That version becomes your reality. Here's the truth. You are not just a passenger moving through life. You are the observer, and the observer is the architect. Think of two people facing the exact same challenge. One sees it as defeat, proof that life is against them. The other sees it as opportunity, a stepping stone toward growth. The event is identical, but their outcomes completely different. Why? Because attention does not merely watch reality, it sculpts it. You have been observing unconsciously for years, focusing on what could go wrong, on what might hurt, on what you fear repeating. And so, without knowing it, you've been collapsing the timelines of scarcity, lack, and limitation into form. But the moment you turn your gaze with intention, everything begins to shift. Energy flows where attention goes. Neuroscience confirms this. Neural pathways strengthen with repetition. Attention deepens their grooves until thought becomes belief, and belief becomes identity. And identity, at its core, is the frequency that reality reflects back to you. This is why awareness is not passive. It is not idle. It is creation in motion. So ask yourself, what have you been observing most? What stories have you been replaying, giving life to with your focus? The missed chances, the disappointments, the fear of what if it happens again? Each time you return to them, you collapse them into your now. But there is another way. The quantum field does not discriminate between memory and imagination. To the field, focus is focus. Attention is energy, which means you can choose, here and now, to observe a new outcome into existence. To collapse not the timeline of fear, but of freedom. Not the path of lack, but of abundance. Here's the shift. The life you imagine is not waiting in some distant future. It exists already, in the unseen. Your role is not to chase it, but to observe it, to feel it, to give it your attention until the wave collapses into form. You are not a powerless spectator. You are the lens through which the universe decides what becomes real. And the moment you truly see this, you no longer wait for possibility to arrive. You collapse it. What if your emotions were not interruptions to logic, but the very language reality understands? You've been taught to see emotion as fragile, unpredictable, even inconvenient. But the truth is, emotion is energy. Emotion is frequency. It is the purest signal you ever send into the field. Here's the science. Your heart is not just a pump. It is an electromagnetic engine radiating waves of information far beyond your body. Studies from the HeartMath Institute reveal that the field around your heart is thousands of times stronger than that of the brain. Every beat broadcasts a vibration, not only shaping your biology, but resonating with the field around you. So pause for a moment. What have your emotions been broadcasting lately? Because whether you realize it or not, your feelings are writing the code of your reality. Fear, doubt, resentment, they ripple outward like static, pulling you into versions of life that echo their frequency. Gratitude, love, joy, they generate coherence, aligning the field to bring you the experiences that match their song. Think about this. Two people lose their jobs on the same day. One sinks into despair, repeating the story of failure. Their body, their mind, their heart all radiate the frequency of defeat. The other feels a spark of curiosity, even possibility. Perhaps this is the doorway to something better. That frequency expands, opening doors that the first person will never even notice. The event is the same. The emotion creates the difference. This is why the life you long for cannot arrive through thought alone. Imagination is powerful, yes. But it is when imagination fuses with emotion, when you feel the reality of what you desire before it arrives, that the field begins to bend. You are no longer daydreaming. You are transmitting. Here's the paradox. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are is the frequency of your dominant emotion. So if you continue to live from the vibration of waiting, longing, or needing, then waiting, longing, and needing are the only realities the field can send back. But when you begin to embody gratitude as if it's already done, When you live as though your future is certain, breathing it into your heart now, reality has no choice but to match you. Joe Dispenza often says, "The body doesn't know." The difference between an experience and the emotion you create from that experience, which means you can train your body, your heart, your field to become the future before it arrives. This is not fantasy. It is frequency alignment, so feel it now, not tomorrow, not when proof appears. Now. Feel the love of the relationship as if they are already beside you. Feel the relief of financial freedom as if abundance has already arrived. Feel the peace of healing as if your body has already renewed itself. Don't wait for the mirror to change. Change the frequency you radiate, and the mirror will have no choice but to follow. The shift begins here. You stop asking, "When will it come?" And you start declaring, "I already am." Because emotion is not weakness. Emotion is creation. It is the song your soul sings into the quantum field. And the moment you learn to feel ahead of time, the life you imagine begins to feel its way back to you. What if most of what you call choice was never really yours? From the moment you opened your eyes as a child, you began absorbing. Every word spoken to you, every glance of approval, every wound of rejection, it was recorded. Your subconscious, like wet clay, was molded by parents, teachers, culture, and circumstance. Without even realizing it, you became the sum of those impressions, and now, as an adult, you move through life carrying those invisible scripts. You think you are deciding freely, but most of the time, you are simply repeating. Here's the science. Neuroscience tells us that nearly 95% of your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are unconscious. They are programs running beneath awareness. That means when you react with fear, when you doubt your worth, when you sabotage opportunities, it isn't because you want to, it's because an old program is still running. Imagine this. A person grows up hearing they are not enough. Years later, they enter a relationship, no matter how much love their partner shows. They keep looking for proof of rejection. Every silence feels like abandonment. Every disagreement feels like betrayal. Eventually, the relationship collapses, not because of reality, but because of the script. This is how so many of us live. We don't respond to life. We respond to the past. The subconscious is like a projector casting yesterday's story onto today's screen. And until you become aware of it, you'll keep mistaking the projection for reality. You'll keep wondering why the same patterns repeat. The same kinds of relationships, the same struggles with money, the same cycles of fear. But here's the shift. Awareness unravels the script. The moment you recognize, "This isn't me, this is programming," the loop begins to break. You are no longer the actor trapped in the role. You are the director watching the film. And as the director, you have the power to rewrite the scene. Quantum physics shows us that the past is not fixed. The field is infinite, and memory itself is malleable. Every time you revisit an old story, whether of pain or limitation, you either reinforce it or you reframe it. The emotion you bring to memory can either lock you deeper into the past or free you into the future. So here's the invitation. Stop asking, "Why does this always happen to me?" And begin asking, "What program is this revealing?" Because once you see the script, it loses its grip. You are not bound to survival mode. You are not destined to repeat cycles. You are the awareness behind the program. And awareness is what rewrites the code. This is where liberation begins. When you stop living as the echo of old conditioning and start living as the conscious creator of your now. What if life was never against you, but always reflecting you? Every moment, every person, every challenge, they act like mirrors, returning the vibration you carry within. You think reality is fixed, but in truth, it is fluid. It bends, it echoes, It mirrors the frequency of your inner world with stunning precision. Here's the paradox. Most people spend their lives trying to polish the mirror. They try to rearrange circumstances, force outcomes, demand that the reflection change, all while ignoring the image that creates it. But the mirror cannot lead, it can only follow. Quantum physics gives us the same truth. The field does not create at random, it collapses into form according to the observer. Your state of being, your thoughts, your emotions, your identity is the lens. The world outside is simply the projection. Imagine two people walking into the same crowded street. One carries anger and frustration. Every noise irritates them. Every stranger feels like a threat. The other carries joy and openness. They notice the laughter, the colors, the music playing in the distance. Same street, same moment, different mirrors. The street was not the cause. It was the reflection. This is why trying to change reality from the outside in rarely works. You might succeed for a moment, but unless the inner state shifts, the same patterns will return. The mirror cannot be tricked. It cannot be forced. It can only reflect. Here's the deeper truth. Reality is not a punishment. It is feedback. If you see rejection, it is not proof of unworthiness. It is showing you the vibration of self-doubt. If you see lack, it is not proof of scarcity. It is showing you where you have believed in limitation. The reflection is not against you, it is teaching you. So pause and ask yourself, what has life been showing you lately? Not in the details, but in the patterns. Because within those reflections lies the map to your inner state. And here's the shift. The moment you change the signal within, the mirror cannot resist. Begin radiating gratitude, and the reflection brightens. Begin embodying worth, and the reflection offers opportunities to match it. Begin holding peace, and the reflection calms itself around you. It does not always happen instantly. Sometimes the mirror lags, echoing old signals still dissolving. But keep transmitting, and the reflection will adjust. It has no choice, because life is not fixed glass. It is a living mirror, and when you shift the vibration within, the image before you transforms. This is the power you have always carried. Not to fight the mirror, not to fear it, but to use it. To let reality reveal your frequency, and to let that awareness guide you back into alignment. You no longer say, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, you whisper, "What is this showing me about what I carry within?" And in that moment, the mirror is no longer an enemy. It becomes a teacher. It becomes your ally. What if the life you dream of is not somewhere far away, but already exists, waiting for you to tune in? Every possibility you can imagine, success or failure, joy or despair, love or loneliness, is already written. In the quantum field, physics calls this superposition. The strange truth that particles do not exist in one state, but in all states simultaneously, until observed. And here's the secret. You are the observer. You collapse possibility into reality. You choose, whether consciously or unconsciously, which version of yourself steps out of the field and into form. But here is the paradox. Most people believe they are bound by fate, unaware that they are choosing in every moment. They think this is just how life is. But life is not singular, it is multiversal. Every version of you already exists. The question is not whether it is possible, but whether you are aligned to it. Consider this. There is a version of you who healed the wounds of the past and walks with lightness. There is a version of you who found the courage to speak your truth and open doors you once thought were locked. There is a version of you who already embodies abundance, love, freedom. These versions are not fantasies, they are frequencies. Quantum physics shows us that matter responds to energy. Your thoughts, your emotions, your sense of identity. They are signals, Each signal corresponds to a timeline. When you hold the frequency of fear, you tune into the timeline where fear is confirmed. When you hold the frequency of worth, you align with the timeline where opportunities affirm your value. Imagine two people losing their jobs on the same day. One collapses into hopelessness, believing the story of failure. Their future timeline echoes scarcity, rejection, limitation. The other sees it as a doorway, a chance to create something new. Their future timeline unfolds into growth, new connections, abundance. Same event, different choice, different timeline. This is the quantum truth. You do not create from the future. You create the future now, but here's what stops most people. They wait for evidence before they believe. They wait for love before they feel worthy. They wait for wealth before they feel abundant. Yet the mirror of reality cannot show what you do not first project. If you wait, you keep aligning with the timeline of waiting. The shift happens when you embody the state of the version you desire before it arrives. Not pretending, but practicing. Not faking, but feeling. You imagine the life you choose as if it were already real, and in doing so, you vibrate at that frequency. That frequency collapses the superposition into form. This is not wishful thinking. It is resonance. The double slit experiment proves it. Consciousness itself influences what becomes real, and in the same way, your consciousness chooses which version of you steps forward. So the question is not, can I? The question is, which version of me will I choose today? You are standing at a crossroads in every moment. Infinite timelines stretch before you. Some heavy, some light, some bound, some free. The deciding factor is not chance, not luck, not fate. It is the frequency you embody now. And here's the liberation. You do not need to fight your past or wait for the perfect conditions. The field does not respond to effort, but to alignment. Choose the signal, hold it, return to it when you drift, and the timeline will bend to meet you. Because in the quantum truth of your being, you are not chasing your future. You are summoning it and the version of you you've always imagined. It has always been real, waiting, watching, ready for you to choose it. What if the pictures in your mind are not fantasy, but signals? The brain cannot tell the difference between what you vividly imagine and what you physically experience. Neuroscience confirms this. When you close your eyes and rehearse a scene in your mind, the same neural pathways fire as if you were living it in real time. To your nervous system, imagination is reality. This is why athletes rehearse their performance in the theater of the mind. Before stepping onto the field, they already lived the victory hundreds of times internally. Studies show their muscles respond, their reflexes sharpen, even though they never moved. Their bodies prepare for what the mind has already decided, and you are no different. Every image you hold becomes a rehearsal. Every scene you play in your inner world lays the foundation for the outer one. If you dwell on fear, your nervous system programs for danger. If you dwell on freedom, your subconscious expects liberation. Imagination is not pretending. It is broadcasting. Think of the child who pretends to be an astronaut. To the outside world, it looks like play. But inside their brain, the chemistry of possibility is being carved. They are rehearsing a version of themselves that one day may no longer feel like make-believe at all. Quantum physics affirms this as well. Consciousness collapses possibilities into form. When you imagine a future vividly with emotion, you are signaling the frequency of that reality. You are telling the field, this is the version I choose. And the field responds, not instantly, but faithfully. Here is the paradox. Most people use this power unconsciously. They rehearse the worst-case scenario. They play the movie of rejection before the date. They run the story of failure before the attempt, and the body follows. The nervous system tightens. The subconscious expects loss, and reality reflects it back. But when you choose deliberately, everything changes. Imagine the scene of success not once, but again and again. See it, feel it, walk inside it. Add texture to the vision, the sounds, the colors, the scent in the air, the weight of the moment. To your brain, this is not daydreaming, it is conditioning, it is alignment. Joe Dispenza says, "The body is the unconscious mind. When you imagine a future with enough intensity, the body believes it has already arrived. And what the body believes, it begins to magnetize. So the question becomes, what are you rehearsing? What stories are you planting in the soil of your subconscious each day? Are you imagining a life of waiting or a life of becoming? Are you picturing the chains of the past or the freedom of the future? Here lies your choice. Imagination is not an escape from reality. It is the blueprint of reality. It is the rehearsal of truth, and when you realize this, you stop calling it pretending. You start calling it creation. The future is not ahead of you. The future is inside of you, waiting to be remembered. You keep imagining who you want to be as though that version is far away. You dream of the life, the body, the love, the freedom. But here's the paradox. The very act of chasing keeps it out of reach. Desire ends where embodiment begins. Quantum physics reminds us that all versions of you already exist in superposition. The version of you still waiting, the version of you doubting, and the version of you fully alive, already aligned, already free. Which one you experience depends on the state you choose in this moment. Consciousness collapses one timeline into form, not tomorrow, now. And this is the doorway. You do not become your future self someday. You become it the moment you live, as though it is already true. Think of posture. When you stand tall, your body sends signals to your brain that confidence is here. When you breathe deeply, your nervous system shifts from survival to safety. When you act with intention, even in the smallest choices, you signal to the field, I am already this. Consider two people starting the same journey. One says, one day I'll be free from anxiety. The other says, I am learning to breathe differently, to think differently, to choose differently now. Both feel fear, both face obstacles, but the second begins to embody a different identity, and slowly reality bends around them. Because the future self is not waiting in the distance, it is breathing through the choices of the present. Joe Dispenza teaches that the body does not know the difference between a remembered past and a mentally rehearsed future. If you repeatedly condition yourself to feel as though you are already abundant, already loved, already whole, the body accepts this as fact. And once the body believes, the mind follows. Reality must follow. Here's the truth most people miss. You don't wait for the opportunity to feel worthy. You feel worthy now, and opportunities arrive. You don't wait for love to erase loneliness. You live as though love is already your nature, and loneliness dissolves. You don't wait for wealth to feel secure. You feel secure, and wealth begins to mirror it back. The self you are seeking is not separate from you. It is not in the future. It is not hiding. It is already present, waiting for you to step into its rhythm. So the question is not, when will I arrive? The question is, am I willing to embody it now? The future self is not a distant horizon. It is a frequency. It is a posture. It is a choice repeated until it becomes identity. And when you realize this, longing dissolves. Striving quiets. The chase ends because the moment you live as though it is already true. It is. Breakthroughs are beautiful, but they are not enough. What transforms you is rhythm. You think alignment arrives like lightning. One sudden shift, one sacred meditation, one powerful moment that changes everything. But the truth is gentler and deeper. Alignment is not a spark. It is a song, and the song is played every day. Energy is music, and your life is an instrument. Every thought sends out a note. Every emotion strikes a chord. Every choice creates harmony or dissonance. This is why two people can face the same storm, yet one stands steady while the other breaks. It is not the storm that decides, it is the frequency they have rehearsed. Neuroscience tells us that repeated thoughts wire into pathways. Repeated emotions condition the body into states of being. This is the daily training most forget. You are not waiting for alignment, you are practicing it. Each morning breath, each conscious pause, each moment of gratitude is not small. It is calibration. It is how you tune yourself to the field. Think of a musician tuning their instrument before every performance. They do not wait until the audience arrives to check the strings. They tune quietly, consistently, until the vibration is pure. You are no different. The audience is life. The performance is every interaction, every challenge, every dream you are bringing into form. Consider this. One person wakes and immediately reaches for the phone. Their nervous system is hijacked by news, comparison, urgency. Another wakes and breathes, placing hand on heart, whispering intention. Both step into the same day, but they are not entering the same reality. One is reactive, the other is resonant. This is the difference alignment makes. Joe Dispenza teaches that emotion is energy in motion. When you sustain elevated emotions, gratitude, love, joy, the body broadcasts a coherent signal. And coherence is not an accident. It is a practice, a daily rehearsal, a commitment to the vibration you choose to embody. So ask yourself, what frequencies do you repeat until they become natural? Is it worry or wonder? Is it doubt or devotion? Because whatever you rehearse, you become. Here is the shift. Stop chasing alignment as a peak moment. Begin treating it as a practice, a breath you return to, a choice you repeat, a rhythm you honor. When you do, alignment stops being fragile. It stops being a fleeting glimpse. It becomes your default state, your baseline, your natural song. And when life tests you, because it will, you do not collapse. You remember the rhythm, you return to the note. You hold your resonance, not because the world is easy, but because you have learned to play in harmony with it. This is the true mastery, not a single breakthrough, but a symphony, not a moment of alignment, but the music of a life attuned. You were never small. You only learned to believe you were. From the moment you opened your eyes in this life, the world began to tell you who you are. Labels, roles, stories, fears, all of them woven around you like invisible threads. And yet, beneath every thread, there has always been something larger, something untouchable, something infinite. You are not the sum of your past. You are not the weight of your mistakes. You are not the echo of old identities that no longer fit. At your core, you are possibility itself, pure potential, observing itself into form. Just as the double-slit experiment reveals, the particle waits to see what you will choose to notice. Reality collapses at the gaze of your consciousness. So here is the question. If you are the observer, why keep observing only the limits? Why stare at the walls when you could look toward the horizon? The truth is simple, though it feels vast. Every version of you already exists. The confident you, the healed you, the radiant, courageous, abundant you. They are not ahead of you. They are here, encoded in the field, waiting for your awareness to tune the frequency. Neuroscience confirms it. The brain does not distinguish vividly imagined experiences from lived ones, which means every time you visualize, every time you feel the state of your future self, your nervous system rehearses it as truth. You are no longer pretending. You are programming. You are writing the code of the infinite self into the body you inhabit today. Think of it this way. Two people stand before the same locked door. One says, "There is no key." The other says, "The key is already in me." The door opens only for the one who remembers their infinite nature. Bob Proctor said, "You are always living at the level of your awareness, and awareness can expand. The moment you choose to see yourself as unlimited, your world must rearrange to match. Because life does not punish, it mirrors. It reflects back to you the vibration you have claimed as your own. So pause now and imagine if you were truly infinite. How would you breathe? How would you walk? How would you speak, love, create? What choices would no longer frighten you? What dreams would no longer feel distant? The shift is here. You do not need to become infinite. You already are. You only need to stop rehearsing the illusion of smallness. From this moment, let your alignment be daily. Let your imagination be vivid. Let your embodiment be present. And above all, let your awareness rise to the truth. You are not separate from the life you dream of. You are its source, its vessel, its living expression. You are infinite. You always have been. And now, you remember,